Stupid questions.
Hello and welcome to Stupid Questions, a place where we discuss the strange, the unusual, and those stupid questions that pop into your life every day. My name's Pete, and you may know me from the He's a JiKook podcast over on the CJ Moon Stories website. You know, I've been absolutely loving watching Jimin and Jungkook travel around in Are You Sure? Season 2. It's been so much fun seeing their dynamic, whether they're stressing about the suddenly reduced suitcase space or just enjoying the scenery while winding down a mountain road in Switzerland. But there's one thing that popped up in the second episode of the second season that I know will leave a lot of you, and being honest, me too, scratching your heads. The intense game they were playing. Yutnori. They were super focused, throwing wooden sticks, cheering wildly, and clearly it was a big deal. However, if you weren't already familiar with the game, it was probably hard to follow the actual rules. They did flash them up really quickly, but if you didn't know what was going on, it wasn't a great time to learn. So today, let's clear up the confusion about the game that had Jimin and Jungkook so fired up. Firstly, the full name of the game is Yutnori, and it's a classic traditional Korean board game that's actually much simpler than they made it look. Forget dice. Yutnori uses 4 special split wooden sticks. Those are your Yut sticks. They have a flat side and a rounded side, and when you throw all 4 of them, the combination of the flat and rounded sides tells you how far you can move. So think of them as a different form of dice. Each with just 2 sides, a flat side and a rounded side. Now the playing pieces that they move are called mal, which translates to horse in Korean. Each player or team gets 4 of these tokens, and the goal is to get all 4 of your horses around the board and home first. So, how do you decide where you're starting and where you're finishing? Quite simply, it's the closest corner to where you're sat. So, in the case of Jimin and Jungkook, they chose a corner. They were working together in the game. They started from there. They had to get all 4 pieces around the board and back to that point again. If you've ever played Ludo, it's kind of something very similar to that. Most commonly, players begin their journey by moving a token onto the board from a space just outside the first corner space. Once a token moves onto the board, it follows the path. The end is reached when the token completes its full route, whether it's all the way around the outside of the board or using one of those special shortcut paths that you will have seen across the middle. When it gets to the end, it moves off the board at the exact same location where it was first brought onto it. It seemed like they were playing a version where you had to throw the exact number to take the piece off the board. Right, so let's think of the board. If you saw it on the show, you'll have a better idea. It's a large square track. You put your start token in the pit, or that's off to the side. Right. Each turn you can move it onto the first space of the track. And people normally pick one of the 4 corners. It's just easier that way to remember where the start and end point is. The token has to travel the full course around the outside, or you can use one of those shortcuts across the middle. You can only move on to those shortcuts if you land on exactly one of the other corners. So you can't kind of go wandering past and stop and take the corner. You have to land exactly on the corners. They mark those on the show with big black circles. The end is when you have a large enough throw, a do, ge, etc., to move your piece completely past that starting corner and off the board. You don't land on a finished space, you use a throw to exit the board entirely. The objective is to move your piece through the course and use a final throw to exit the track where you entered. Once the piece is off the board, it's considered home. So that would be the scoring that you would have seen in the show. As they move the piece completely around the board and then off it, they score a point. Now, here's where the figuring out comes in. When you throw the 4 sticks, here are the moves that you get. If there's 1 flat side up, that's called a do, or 1, and you move 1 space. 2 flat sides up, that's a ge, or 2, and you move 2 spaces. 3 flat sides up, that's a Geol, or 3, and you move 3 spaces. 4 flat sides up, that is a Yut, or 4. And here's the best part, you get to move 4 spaces, and you get to throw again. Just like how Jimin and Jungkook would get hyped up when they would get a lucky throw, that's because they were going to get to throw again. If all 4 sticks land rounded side up, that is the ultimate. It's called a mo, or 5. You get 5 spaces and you get to throw again. And here's a tricky one that can really mess with your flow, which you definitely saw in Are You Saw? The back do. This happens when only 1 specific marked stick lands flat side up and it moves your piece 1 space backwards. It sounds awful, but it can actually be quite great, because if one of your opponent's pieces is directly behind you, you can move back. And what happens when you land on the same space as one of your opponents? That means they have to move that token back to their starting point. Now, strategies. The game isn't just about luck, even though it might seem like it. It's about smart strategies, which is where Jungkook and Jimin's intensity really came into play. If you catch your opponent, so if you land on exactly the same space as your opponent, as I've already said, you get to send their piece back to the start. And just like getting a Yut or a mo, you get an extra throw. This is the best feeling in the game. Why they got so dramatic when someone lost their spot? It's literally landing on that square gives you like a massive double overdrive move. If your token lands on the space when one of your own pieces is sitting, and you'll have seen this again, you stack them up and move them as a single group. They move faster together because you're moving 2 pieces at the same time, but there's a big downside to this. If your opponent lands on the same square as those 2 pieces, they both have to go back to the start point. So there's quite a lot of strategy there about teaming them up, moving them onto the same square. Do you want to do that? Do you not want to do that? Now, as we saw, the board has the big circles on the corners and one in the center. If your piece lands exactly on one of these, you can take the shortcut on your next move. So that reduces the distance around the board. Jimin and Jungkook are very smart players at this game, and they use shortcuts to zoom their mal home, their little horses. The first person or team to get all 4 of their tokens off the board following one of those paths is the winner. So, it's not such a difficult game to understand when it's explained well. And this is something you can go and play yourself. I had a check around on Amazon before I made this podcast, and all of the Yut sets that are on there are now hugely expensive or sold out, just to show you the power of JiKook. And once again, they're completely sold out. In the UK, there's one on there, and it looks really cheap, and it's about £36. So people are obviously really interested in this game right now, and I can understand why, having seen what a great time they both had with the production staff playing it. I can definitely see a lot of people sitting down over the festive period and playing Yut. But you don't just have to play a physical version. Obviously, it sounds quite simple. You could probably make one yourself. You could make one with coins and play it with heads and tails. Or find an app. Find a website online. there are lots of different apps when I had a look on both the iPhone and the Android stores, like Yutnori Online and things like that. So you can play it either just on your phone against an AI opponent, or go online, play it against other people, your friends, family, or just random people on the internet. Let's just give it a try. It's actually a really fun game. It's a good mixture of strategy and luck. At first, the first time you play it, you're going to just think, this is crazy. But you'll eventually work it out, and you'll have a great time, just like Jimin and Jungkook did with the production team. I hope this has been really useful to you and can help you understand what is happening in that game. Because when you watch it back and you know the rules, you can understand why they got so intense about the whole thing. As I say again, my name's Pete. You'll know me from the He's a JiKooker podcast, now called JiKookers. Please, if you like this podcast, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I'm trying to get something going here where we can look at those stupid questions that come into your head every day, because they're not so stupid after all, and we can go through it together, and we can learn, and we can understand. Some of them will be about JiKook, some of them will be about BTS, and some will be about some stuff that maybe you hadn't considered, but will be really interesting. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this helps you understand what is going on in those crazy minutes when they're playing Yut.